The Valani had been watching Earth for a very long time. 50 years to be exact. They sent small ships to hide behind the moon. They listened to human radio signals. They watched human satellites float through space. And they waited. The Valani were patient creatures. They had built an empire across 200 star systems. They had conquered dozens of species. Some they used for labor. Some they used for entertainment. Some they simply removed from existence. This was the way of things in the galaxy. The strong took what they wanted. The weak served or died. Commander Tyrus stood on the bridge of his cruiser, the Eternal Dominion. He was tall and thin, like all Valani. His skin was pale and slightly see-through. You could almost see his blue blood moving beneath it. He had 4 arms, each one long and graceful. His eyes were large and black, like pools of ink. He had lived for 200 years. He had captured thousands of specimens from dozens of worlds. He knew how this worked. Find a target. Take them quietly. Study them. Decide their fate. Today, his target was a small cargo ship drifting near Jupiter. "The vessel is alone," said his sensor officer. "One life sign inside. The creature appears to be sleeping." Tyrus clicked his teeth together. This was a Valani smile. "Perfect. Bring it aboard, carefully." The cargo ship was called the Lucky Star. It was old and beaten up. Rust marks covered its hull. The engine made strange noises. But it flew, and that was enough for its pilot. Park Gina was 28 years old. She had black hair cut short and practical. Her eyes were dark brown and sharp. She had been a Marine for 6 years before she quit to fly cargo. She liked the quiet of space. She liked being alone with her thoughts. She was dreaming about rain when the Valani took her dot. The first thing she felt was cold. Then she felt hard metal under her back. Then she heard voices speaking in a language she did not know. Gina opened her eyes. She was in a room made of white metal. The ceiling was high. The lights were too bright. And standing around her were 4 creatures she had never seen before. They were tall, much taller than her. Their skin looked like frosted glass. They had 4 arms each. Their faces were flat, with tiny holes where a nose should be. Their mouths were thin lines. One of them leaned closer. A small device on its throat glowed blue. "The specimen is awake," it said. The words came out in perfect Korean, but the voice sounded wrong. Too flat, too empty. Gina did not scream. She did not cry. She had trained for situations like this. Not alien abductions, exactly, but strange situations. Dangerous situations. Situations where panic meant death. She took a slow breath. She looked around the room. She counted the aliens. 4. She looked at the walls. No windows. 1 door. She looked at her own body. She was wearing the same clothes. No wounds. No restraints on her hands or feet. Interesting. "So," she said, keeping her voice calm and steady, "which one of you is in charge? Because someone needs to explain why you pulled me out of my ship." The 4 aliens looked at each other. They seemed confused. Tyrus watched from a screen in the next room. He tilted his head slowly. In 200 years of capturing specimens, no one had ever spoken first. Usually they screamed, or cried, or tried to attack, or simply froze in terror. That this human did none of those things. She just sat there, looking around, asking questions. "Interesting," Tyrus whispered. He walked to the door and entered the holding room. His guards stepped aside to let him pass. He stopped in front of the human and looked down at her. Ayanna looked up at him. She did not look away. She did not lower her eyes. She just stared at him like she was studying him. "I am Commander Tyrus of the Valani Consortium," he said through his translator. "You are now property of the Consortium. You will be studied. You will be tested. And then your fate will be decided. Gina raised one eyebrow. Property? Yes. And if I refuse? Tyrus made the clicking sound again. His smile. You cannot refuse. You are one small creature on a ship with 300 Vellani soldiers. You have no weapons. You have no allies. You have nothing. Gina was quiet for a moment. Then she did something that surprised everyone in the room. She laughed. It was not a crazy laugh. It was not a scared laugh. It was a real laugh, like someone had told her a good joke. Okay, she said, still smiling. I understand. You think you are in control here. Tyrus frowned. We are in control. Gina shook her head slowly. No, you just don't know it yet. The guards looked at each other nervously. This was not how specimens behaved. This human was broken somehow. Damaged in the mind. Tyrus did not think she was damaged. He thought she was dangerous. But he did not know why yet. Take her to containment cell 7, he ordered. Maximum security. Double the guards. As they led Gina away, she went quietly. She did not fight. She did not resist. She just walked calmly between the guards, looking at everything around her. Looking at the walls. Looking at the doors. Looking at the guards and their weapons and their movements. She was not scared. She was studying, and somewhere deep in her mind, she was already making a plan. The first 3 days were the hardest. Not because of pain. Not because of fear. But because of boredom. Gina sat in her cell and waited. The room was small and white. There was a bed made of hard plastic. There was a toilet in the corner. There was a small hole in the wall where food appeared 3 times a day. And that was all. The Vellani watched her through cameras. They expected her to break down. They expected her to cry and beg and scratch at the walls. That was what most species did. But Gina did not break down. She woke up each morning and stretched her body. She did push-ups on the floor. She did sit-ups until her stomach burned. She ran in place until sweat dripped down her face. The Vellani scientists watched in confusion. What is she doing? Asked Morel, a young researcher with large, curious eyes. She is wasting energy for no reason. Perhaps it is a ritual, said his assistant. A religious practice. Perhaps she is insane. They did not understand exercise. The Vellani had weak bodies. They tired quickly. They never moved more than they needed to. The idea of running in place, of lifting your own body weight again and again, made no sense to them. On the 4th day, the tests began. They brought Gina to a large white room with machines she did not recognize. They strapped her to a table. They poked her with needles. They shined lights into her eyes. They put cold metal discs on her chest and head. Gina stayed calm through all of it. She breathed slowly. She kept her heart rate steady. She watched everything they did and remembered it. The results confused the Vellani scientists. Her body temperature is 36.7 degrees, Morel reported to Commander Tyrus. This is extremely high. Most species would die at this temperature. She is alive, Tyrus said. Obviously. Yes, but how? Her blood is basically boiling inside her veins. And her heart. Her heart beats so fast. So loud. It is like a drum that never stops. Tyrus looked at the data. The human heart rate was about 70 beats per minute at rest. For a Vellani, that would mean death within hours. Their hearts beat only 12 times per minute. What else? He asked. Morel swallowed nervously. She heals, fast. We took a small sample of her skin yesterday. Today, the wound is almost gone. We have never seen this in any species. It is wrong. It is too fast. Anything else? She drinks water constantly, 3 liters per day. And she eats 3 full meals. Most species her size would eat once every few days, but she consumes biomass at an alarming rate. Tyrus was quiet for a moment. What about the neural dampeners? The neural dampeners were the Villani's greatest weapon. Small devices that sent signals into a creature's brain. They caused fear. They caused confusion. They broke the will of any species. No creature had ever resisted them. Morel looked uncomfortable. They do not work properly. Explain. We activated them at full power. She reported feeling dizzy for a few minutes. Then, nothing. Her brain adapted. It found a way around the signal. Within an hour, she was normal again. Tyrus felt something cold in his chest. Something he had not felt in a very long time. He did not know the word for it, because he had never needed it before. The word was fear. The next day, they tried a different test. They put Gina in a room alone and watched. They wanted to see how she handled isolation. Most species went mad within a day. They needed contact with others. They needed voices and touch and comfort. Without these things, their minds broke apart. Gina was alone for 3 days. She did not go mad. She did not cry. She did not talk to herself in crazy ways. Instead, she found things to do. She exercised every morning. She practiced fighting moves against the air. She sang songs in her language. She made up stories in her head. She studied the writing on the walls. It was Villani script, warning labels for the machines. By the 3rd day, she had figured out some of the words, but the strangest thing happened with the security drone. A small floating machine came into her cell to scan her once a day. It was just a metal ball with cameras and sensors. It had no personality. It had no feelings. It was just a tool. Gina named it Bomi. "Good morning, Bomi," she said on the 2nd day. "How are you today? Did you sleep well?" The drone did not respond. It just floated there, scanning her. "I know you are just a machine," Gina continued. "But it is nice to have company, even quiet company." By the 3rd day, she was telling Bomi about her life, about her childhood, about her time in the Marines, about the stars she wanted to visit. The scientists watched in horror. "She is bonding with the drone," Morel whispered. "She is treating it like a friend, like a living thing. That is impossible. She knows it is a machine. Yes, she knows. But she does it anyway. She's making a connection with it because she needs connection. Her species, they bond with anything, everything. They cannot stop themselves." Morel typed his final report with trembling fingers. His conclusion was simple and terrifying. The human is not prey. The human is not predator. The human is something worse. The human is an endurance apex, a creature that evolved to survive everything. They heal too fast. They adapt too quickly. They bond with anything. They never stop moving, never stop thinking, never stop trying. They're not dangerous because of claws or teeth or venom. They are dangerous because they do not give up. Ever. Commander Tyrus read the report 5 times. Then he looked at the camera feed showing Gina's cell. She was doing push-ups again, counting quietly to herself. "Double the guards," he ordered. "Triple them." But deep down, he knew it would not matter. Something in his ancient bones told him that he had made a terrible mistake. He had brought a predator onto his ship, and now he was trapped with it. Gina had been counting. 7 days in this cell. 7 days of tests and questions and waiting. 7 days of watching and learning. She knew the patrol schedules now. Guards passed her door every 30 minutes during the day, every 45 minutes at night. The shift change happened at the same time each day. For exactly 4 minutes, there were only 2 guards in her section instead of 6. She knew the layout of this part of the ship. She had memorized every turn, every door, every camera she saw when they moved her for testing. She had built a map in her head. She knew the Volani were fragile. She had watched them move. She had seen how they walked, how they breathed, how quickly they got tired. They were evolved for a different kind of world. A world with less gravity. A world with no predators. Tonight was the night. The guards passed her door at midnight. She heard their soft footsteps fade away. She waited until her count reached 100. Then she got up from her bed. The first problem was the restraint on her ankle. A metal band connected to the wall by a thin chain. Strong enough to hold most creatures. Not strong enough for what Gina was about to do. She sat down and looked at her left hand. Specifically, at her thumb. This was going to hurt. A lot. She grabbed her thumb with her other hand. She took a deep breath. Then she pushed it sideways, hard and fast. The bone popped out of its socket with a wet crack. Pain exploded up her arm. Gina bit down on her lips so hard she tasted blood. But she did not scream. She did not make a sound. With her thumb dislocated, her hand became smaller, narrow enough to slip through the metal band. She pulled, ignoring the pain, and her hand came free. She popped the thumb back into place. The pain was worse this time. Stars danced in her vision. But she kept breathing. She kept moving. The door was locked from the outside. But the Volani had made a mistake. They had put a food slot in the bottom of the door. Big enough for trays to slide through. Big enough for a determined human to reach through and feel for the lock mechanism on the other side. It took her 10 minutes. Her arm ached from the strange angle. Her fingers bled from scraping against metal edges. But finally, she felt the lock click open. The hallway was empty. Dim blue lights ran along the ceiling. The air was cold and smelled like metal. Gina moved fast but quiet. She knew where she needed to go. The bridge was at the center of the ship. That was where Tyrus would be. That was where the controls were. The first guard appeared around the corner. He was young, even by Volani standards. His skin was almost completely clear. He carried a small weapon that looked like a metal stick. He saw Gina and froze. His mouth opened to call for help. Gina did not give him the chance. She crossed the distance between them in 2 steps. Her fist hit his throat before he could make a sound. He collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. Gina caught him and lowered him gently. She did not want to kill anyone. She just needed them to stop. She took his weapon and his access card. She kept moving. The second guard was smarter. He saw her coming and raised his weapon. A beam of blue light shot toward her. Gina dropped to the floor and rolled. The beam hit the wall behind her, leaving a black burn mark. She came up running and tackled the guard around his waist. He was taller than her, but he was so light, so fragile. It was like fighting a bundle of sticks wrapped in paper. He hit the ground hard and did not get up. By now, alarms were starting to sound. Red lights flashed in the hallways. Voices shouted in the Volani language. Gina heard footsteps coming from every direction. She started to run. This was what humans were, made for running, not sprinting, which many animals could do better, but running long distances without stopping. Persistence hunting, scientists called it. Ancient humans had chased animals across plains for hours, for days, until the prey simply collapsed from exhaustion. The Volani could not do this. They could sprint in short bursts, but their bodies were not built for extended movement. Their lungs were too small. Their hearts were too weak. Their muscles filled with poison after only minutes of hard work. Gina ran through the ship like water flowing downhill. Guards tried to chase her. They tried to catch her. But one by one, they fell behind. The first group lasted 3 minutes before they had to stop. Gasping and coughing. The second group made it 5 minutes. Then they collapsed against a wall, their pale skin turning gray from effort. The third group was smarter. They tried to block her path instead of chasing her. But Gina just changed direction. She ran through cargo bays and engine rooms and sleeping quarters. She ran upstairs and down ramps. She never stopped moving. Security Chief Doyon watched the camera feeds from the control room. His hands were shaking. "She's not slowing down," he whispered. "She has been running for 15 minutes straight." "That is impossible. Send more guards," his assistant said. "I have sent everyone. They cannot keep up. Their bodies are failing." On the screen, Gina rounded another corner. Her face was calm. Her breathing was steady. She looked like she could run forever, and maybe she could. Maybe that was the terrible truth about humans. They did not stop. They did not get tired. They just kept coming and coming and coming until their prey had nothing left. Doyon looked at the path Gina was taking. He felt his blood turn cold. "She is heading for the bridge," he said. Someone warned the commander. But he knew it was too late. The predator was loose, and nothing on this ship could stop her. The doors to the bridge slid open with a soft hiss. Gina walked in slowly this time. She was not even breathing hard. Behind her, scattered through the hallways of the ship, 47 Vellani guards lay on the floor. None of them were dead, but none of them could move. Their bodies had simply given up. Commander Tyrus stood in the center of the bridge. He held a plasma pistol in one of his 4 hands. His other 3 hands were empty, hanging at his sides. Around him, a dozen crew members huddled behind their stations. Their large black eyes were wide with terror. For a long moment, no one spoke. Tyrus looked at the human. She was small. So small compared to him. Her skin was an ugly brown color, not beautiful and clear like Vellani skin. Her body was thick and heavy, built for a world that tried to crush its creatures with gravity. She had only 2 arms. Only 2 eyes. By every measure, she should have been inferior. But here she stood. Covered in sweat, yes. Her knuckles were bleeding. Her clothes were torn. But she stood straight and calm, like she had just taken a pleasant walk through a garden. "You cannot win," Tyrus said. His voice was steady, but something underneath it trembled. "Even if you take this ship, the Consortium will hunt you. They will find your world. They will bring 1,000 ships. They will take every human from Earth and sell them to the mining colonies." They will what?" Gina interrupted. She stepped closer. "Invade? A planet with 8 billion of me?" Tyrus blinked. 8 billion? 8 billion humans. On one planet. We are everywhere. We live on mountains and in deserts. We live in frozen wastelands and in tropical jungles. We live in places where the air is poison and places where the ground shakes and breaks apart. We live anywhere. We survive everything. She took another step forward. Tyrus raised his pistol. "Let me tell you about my world," Gina continued. "We have animals called wolves. They are predators. They hunt in packs. They have teeth that can tear through bone. Do you know what humans do with wolves?" Tyrus did not answer. "We keep them as pets. We breed them into small versions that sit on our laps. We made the predator into a friend." Another step. The crew members behind Tyrus started to back away. "We have a chemical called caffeine. It is a poison. It would kill most creatures in the galaxy. We drink it every morning to wake up. We enjoy it." Tyrus's hand was shaking now. The pistol wavered in his grip. "We have a food called capsaicin. It burns. It causes pain. We put it on our meals because we like the way it feels." Gina was only 5 steps away now, close enough to see the fear in Tyrus's dark eyes. "We jump out of flying machines for fun. We climb mountains because they are there. We dive into deep water where the pressure could crush metal. We do these things not because we must. We do them because we want to. 3 steps away. We split the atom. We walked on our moon. We built machines that can think. And we did all of this in a single lifetime. 2 steps. We had 2 world wars where millions of us died. And we survived. We had plagues that killed half our population. And we survived. We have tried to destroy ourselves 100 times. And we survived. Every single time. 1 step. Gina stopped directly in front of Tyrus. The barrel of the pistol was almost touching her chest. But she did not look scared. She looked tired. Tired of explaining. Tired of being underestimated. "You took one of us," she said quietly. "One human, alone on a cargo ship. And that one human just walked through your entire security force like they were children playing a game." Tyrus's arm dropped to his side. The pistol fell from his fingers and clattered on the floor. It was not surrender. It was something deeper than that. It was recognition. The ancient part of his brain, the part that remembered when his ancestors were prey, was screaming at him. This creature is a threat. Do not fight. Do not run. Just submit. Just survive. "What do you want?" he asked. His voice was barely a whisper. "3 things, Gina said. First, my ship. The cargo vessel you took me from. I want it back with all my belongings. Done. Second, a clear path home. No one follows me. No one tracks me. I leave and you pretend you never saw me. Done. Third." Gina leaned closer. "A message. To your consortium. To everyone in the galaxy who might be thinking about visiting Earth. A message." Gina smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator who has finally caught its prey. Earth is off limits. Forever. No visits. No contact. No abductions. If any ship comes within range of our solar system, we will know. And we will remember. And we will come for you." Tyrus swallowed. "The consortium is powerful. They will not accept. They will accept." Gina cut him off. "Because you are going to tell them what happened here. You are going to tell them about the creature that escaped from maximum security. The creature that ran through your ship without stopping. The creature that disabled 50 soldiers without killing. A single one." She paused. "And then you are going to tell them to. Imagine what would happen if 8 billion of us decided to come looking for revenge." Tyrus closed his eyes. He was 200 years old. He had conquered worlds. He had ruled over millions. But in this moment, he felt small. Smaller than he had ever felt in his life. "The message will be sent," he said. Gina nodded. "Good. Now show me to my ship." She turned and walked toward the door. She did not look back. She did not need to. She knew that every creature on this bridge would remember this moment for the rest of their lives. The day they learned what a human really was. The lucky star drifted through the darkness of space. Its old engine hummed a familiar song. Its rusty hull creaked and groaned with each small movement. To most creatures in the galaxy, it would look like junk. A piece of garbage floating among the stars. To Gina, it felt like home. She sat in the pilot chair and looked out at the stars. Earth was still 3 days away. 3 days of quiet. 3 days of peace. 3 days to think about everything that had happened. The Villani had kept their word. They gave her ship back. They gave her supplies. They even fixed some of the damage to her engine. And then they let her go without a single word. She had seen the look on their faces as she walked to her ship. Fear, respect, and something else. Something like wonder. Like they were watching a monster from an old story come to life before their eyes. Gina did not feel like a monster. She just felt tired. She made herself a cup of coffee. Real coffee from her own supplies. Not the strange Vellani food paste that tasted like wet paper. The hot liquid burned her tongue and warmed her chest. She smiled at the simple pleasure of it. Somewhere out there, in the cold depths of space, the Vellani were spreading her message. The Eternal Dominion reached the nearest Consortium station 3 days after Gina left. Commander Tyrus walked into the council chamber with the weight of centuries on his shoulders. The High Council sat in their floating chairs, looking down at him with cold eyes. "Explain," the first speaker demanded. "You captured a specimen from an unexplored world. Now you tell us the specimen escaped. You tell us we must abandon all interest in this world. Explain." Tyrus took a deep breath. Then he told them everything. He told them about the tests, about the heat of human blood, about the speed of human healing, about the way the neural dampeners failed. He told them about the escape, about the human running through the ship without stopping, about guards collapsing one by one, unable to keep pace, about the creature that would not slow down, would not tire, would not give up. He told them about the confrontation on the bridge, about the things the humans said, about the wolves and the poison and the wars. When he finished, the council was silent. "You are telling us," the first speaker said slowly, "that one creature disabled your entire security force. One creature from a world we have never contacted. One creature with no weapons, no technology, no allies. Yes. And you want us to believe this creature is typical of its species?" "No." Tyrus shook his head. "I believe she is ordinary, average. I believe the strong ones are much worse." The council members looked at each other. Silent messages passed between them. Finally, the first speaker nodded. "The message will be sent." And it was the warning spread like fire through dry grass. First to the consortium stations, then to the trade ships that passed through, then to the other empires, the other federations, the other powers that ruled the galaxy. Within 1 year, every spacefaring species had heard the story. There is a world in the outer arm of the galaxy, a small world orbiting a yellow star. It looks peaceful from space. Blue water, green land, white clouds. Do not be fooled. This world is a death world. Its gravity is crushing. Its atmosphere is full of poison. Its weather can change from calm to deadly in moments. Storms of water fall from the sky. The ground shakes and breaks apart. Mountains spit fire and smoke. And the dominant species. The dominant species is something terrible. They call themselves humans. They are endurance hunters. Their ancestors chased prey across open plains, following them for hours, for days, until the prey's heart simply stopped. They never tire. They never slow down. They never stop. They bond with anything. They take predators and make them pets. They form connections with machines, with animals, with each other. They will die for creatures they barely know. They will fight for ideas they cannot touch. They heal from wounds that would kill us. Cut off a limb, and they will survive. Break their bones, and they will mend. Damage their organs, and they will keep breathing through sheer force of will. They consume poison for pleasure. They set themselves on fire for warmth. They dive into crushing depths and climb to airless heights. They do things that should kill them, and they laugh about it afterward, and they do not give up. We sent a ship to take one of them. One specimen from a primitive cargo vessel. That one specimen escaped maximum security, disabled 50 soldiers, and took control of our bridge. She did not use weapons. She did not use technology. She used only her body and her mind, and her refusal to accept defeat. There are 8 billion of them on their world. 8 billion humans, living and breeding and growing stronger with each generation. If you see a human ship, change your course. If you meet a human, be polite. Be respectful. Do nothing to anger them. And if you harm a human, pray. Pray that they are merciful. Pray that they forgive. Because if they do not, they will come for you. They will chase you across the stars. They will hunt you until your heart stops and your blood runs cold. They are Deathworlders. And they are coming. Back on Earth. Gina landed her ship at a small station near Seoul. She told her story to very serious people in very serious rooms. They asked her questions for days. They ran tests. They took notes. Then they thanked her and told her to go home. Her story was classified at the highest level. No one would ever know what happened. Gina was fine with that. She did not want to be famous. She did not want to be a hero. She just wanted to fly her cargo ship and drink her coffee and look at the stars. She took a new job the next month. A simple cargo run to Mars. Nothing exciting. Nothing dangerous. As she flew through the darkness, she sometimes thought about the Villani. She wondered if Tyrus was still commanding his ship. She wondered if Morel was still writing his reports. She wondered if they still thought about the human who walked through their cruiser like it was made of paper. Probably they did. Probably they would think about her for the rest of their lives. Gina smiled at the thought. She poured herself another cup of coffee. The hot, bitter poison that her body had learned to love. Out there, somewhere beyond the stars she could see, entire civilizations were afraid. Afraid of her species. Afraid of creatures who refused to stay down, refused to stop fighting, refused to accept that anything was impossible. Good, she thought. They should be afraid, because humans were coming. Not to conquer, not to destroy, but to explore, to learn, to grow. And nothing in the galaxy was going to stop them. The lucky star flew on into the darkness. A small ship, a tiled pilot, a cup of coffee, and a universe that would never forget the day it learned what humanity really was.